Good evening, ladies and
Hello,
gentlemen.
everybody, and
Welcome here, Echo, to Flatout Racing Network's coverage of the second race of the season, Season 65 of the Talladega Challenge Series. Coming off the heels of an incredible, thrilling season opener, new mod, same faces, but a brand new season as well, and first time that we'll see these drivers with the new Xfinity cars here under the lights at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. I'm Seth Cole, alongside of Kyle Matthews and Michael Norman, and guys, we saw last week maybe some growing pains, the period of adaptation. We talked even with some of the drivers post-race, and they said, here into tonight, that adaptation might still continue on as we've never raced these Xfinity cars here at this racetrack in this series. Saw quite a number of yellows last week. Now, granted, there was a lot of bumper grab, there was a lot of hitbox, we even had some mechanical failures there as well. Do you think we continue to have the growing pains here tonight, or do you think that since we've gotten that first race out of the way, now we kind of settle in a little bit more and see what we're able to do with these cars?
I think it's going to be a little bit more growing pains. I mean, a lot of new stuff for the drivers. Same level of professionalism with the three of us up here, but they're running these cars for the first time here at BSR. They still have a lot to learn here, and I think it's going to take this race to work out all the kinks.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things where this track's kind of the same, but it kind of handles a little differently. It's a little bit tighter off the corners, especially on the inside. So we're going to see a lot of cars pushing up off the corner. It's just going to be if they can handle the hitboxes and maybe not pinch so much. But it should still be an exciting race, to say the least.
And we know that with Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway as well, when they start getting double three wide, that inside line gets a little bit more predominant. So
this is a really nice looking back straightaway, by the way.
It's beautiful, isn't it? But we'll see if when that second and third line start to form, how anxious do we get to try and push, to try and counter the inside line. As we've gotten the command to fire up the engines. Full field tonight. We did have knockout qualifying, so 41 drivers locked themselves into tonight's starting lineup. I'm not sure. Somebody kicked me from the TeamSpeak, so I couldn't see who left between knockout qualifying and the actual race. So I don't have that information, unfortunately. What I do have is our starting lineup, as Mark Paglia is going to get the pole position alongside of Ken Roberts. Richard Martin, former champion, will be joined by Bernie Mobbs in row 2. Row 3, Robert Breedlove, and last week's season opening winner, Chuck McClure. Josh Metallic, Greg Palmer back in row 4. Row 5 will be Graham McDonald and Mike Mangialardi. Rodney Sullins, we'll be talking a little bit more about him in just a few moments. He's going to be in row 6 with Terry Bombard. Bob Seminara and Brian Schilling back in row 7. Grant Wesley, Craig Hagley, they're in row 8. Row 9, Sean Prime and Ron Hagelin. Your top 20 completed with Jason Scheck and Cy Jones. Billy Elliser and Jeremy Jeffries, they're back in row 11. John Forgione makes his first start in the season alongside of Brian Lovell. They're back in row 12. Row 13 finds Chris Elliott and Ulysses Sandoval. Joe DeSpirito, multi-time winner last season, and Kelly Causey back in row 14. And your top 30 completed with John Godfrey and last week's runner-up finisher, Randy Waugh.
Luigi.
Jeff Crivello, Donnie Garrett, they're back in row 16. Keith Bynum and Denny Carroll in row 17. Row 18, Doug Hulick and Glenn Harris. Tim Nofsker and last week's third-place finisher, Jessica Shelton, they're back in row 19. And the rest of the field comprised of Brian Rawson, Doug Woolley, and Cody Lamas making his return to the Talladega Challenge Series after a 2-year hiatus, his first start of the season. First start of the season as well for Doug Woolley.
So you're saying we have a llama on the loose tonight?
We do have a llama on the loose, and he's the caboose.
Cody Lamas is just going to wreck. We all know it.
But is he going to flip?
It's possible.
It is possible. Can llamas fly?
In this series, it is definitely possible to flip.
Yeah, we had at least a half dozen flips last week at Talladega. Yeah, you're right. In one wreck. We'll see what Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway holds here this evening as the second race of Season 65 is green. Paglia and Roberts lead a thundering 41-car pack to turn 1. Richard Martin going to get clear for second, immediately moves up to that middle groove. Couple of drivers there look like they're falling to the back. Down below that yellow line. Get to the tail end of the field to a safe place.
Love that paint scheme on the 43 car. It's a good-looking STP car.
That is the most petty blue I think I've ever seen a car painted here in NR.
You can never have enough petty blue, if you ask me.
Like there's blue, and then that's just blue, all capital letters. Like, that is a standout race car.
It's like Mark Paglia is going to lead lap number 1 here from the pole.
Robert Breedlove now on the bottom, leading that inside line with Josh Metallic and Graham McDonald. Third line is forming back there. Surprise, surprise. Brian Schilling leading that outside lane. I believe he's got Craig Hagley there with him. Can't make out the red car behind. That might be Ron Hagelin in the 111.
Outside lane?
Yes. I wasn't very good in spelling or pronunciation. English is not my first language.
Wow. I can't. So, guys, this is opening up an FRN for our lead commentator. If anyone's interested.
Resumes taken at the door.
Yeah, Matt
outside.
Rocksor.
I don't know if...
Hey, Cody, if you can hear us on the stream, maybe you should come up here instead.
43 may have led that lap. I believe he did.
Scoring would say that is correct. Lap led there for Richard Martin, and now you're starting to see what we were talking about with that second and third lane forming, how the inside line gets a little bit better momentum through the turns, but they're doing some good pushes up there. Whoa! Jeremy Jeffries, all sorts of slideways. Fourth car on that extreme outside line. That might break that third lane up in terms of their momentum. We'll see.
Got Brian Schilling still leading that outside line. Behind him, that is, I can't tell who that is right there.
It's Brian Schilling there in the 4 car.
He's leading that. The car behind him.
Craig Hagley, I believe, in the 82.
Okay. A lot of drivers went to that outside line now. That's got a lot. Now they have a lot of momentum. Hagley is still on the bottom. He's holding the lead. He's got the, I believe that's the 38 behind him.
That's actually the 931 Robert Breedlove. You don't have to look
okay.
too far back to find that 38, though. He's that bright red car, 5th on the inside line, Rodney Sullins. And we mentioned we were going to talk about him when we were reading his name off the grid there. We had Al Sullins in our chat before we came on the air, giving us the sad news that Rodney's father-in-law passed away Tuesday night. So our prayers are obviously with that family. And I don't know. It always. We're not supposed to play favorites. We're supposed to be completely impartial up here in the booth. But when you have something like that happen, you have that little bit of backstory. You can't help but pull for a driver on a night when you know that a win would mean so much to him.
Bit of a sentimental favorite.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, they tried getting that middle and outside line going here, but much like we saw back when they had the Aero 88 cars, this racetrack, when they start doubling up there and getting 3 wide, the inside line starts prevailing. Top 4 have gotten themselves clear now. Rodney in that 5th position trying to do the same. Graham McDonald right now in 4th. Metallic in that McLaren Pato Award scheme right now in 3rd.
Pato.
Did you try saying it in a Irish accent?
Pato? No.
I'm pretty sure he's Spanish.
I can't do accents, bro.
Pretty sure the Pato Award is Spanish or something like that. Venezuelan?
That car in
Colombian?
Well, you have a phone, Seth. Why don't you look it up?
I've got the chat up on my phone. Maybe one of our viewers. If one of our viewers can tell me what nationality Pato Award is.
Oh, I believe I'm having some technical difficulties here.
Yeah, I am. I am too.
I hope that this isn't on Seth's side.
What kind of technical difficulties we having?
Like the screen is frozen.
Yeah, screen's frozen.
Okay, hold on. May have a slight freeze of the stream here, folks. Bear with us real quick.
There we go.
Are we good?
Yep.
Yep, everything looks good now. There we
Alrighty.
go.
Yeah.
I was gonna say though, that 4th car on the inside, I like the paint scheme, but Man,
We're gonna gripe about
Mo-
this again, second straight week.
A Mopar scheme on a Toyota, that just hurts my soul right there.
I'm getting flashbacks of the opener.
It's a good-looking car, but man, like, come on.
Kind of reminds me back in the day when we raced in a series, Michael, and there was what was it, a Dale Senior 82 font on a Jeff Gordon paint scheme on a Honda.
Yep.
Yeah, that
Wow.
was a thing.
My soul was burning.
And look, there's somebody's car we could see finally after last week. Ulysses Sandoval, the fourth car on that in the middle line.
Yes. Checked this morning, and the car file manager saw 096 and thought, hey, we're going to finally get to see that machine on our screens here. That's Rodney up there to that top side. I did notice, I think he's now gotten down to the middle line, but behind Sandoval, I was noticing the 17 of Chuck McClure trying to lead the third line there. And, we talked with Chuck last week. Big load off his shoulders with the victory in the opener. He can now go down these remaining 8 regular season races as aggressive as he wants to be. Just has to stay in the top 20 in points for his win to count towards a playoff spot. And we kind of saw that aggressive nature right there as he tried the third line. When you get those wins early portion of the season, it kind of frees you up a little bit for the remainder of the regular season in preparation for trying to get a high positioned seeding on the playoff grid.
Absolutely. You got really nothing to lose. It's such a huge, like you said, it was just a huge, relief for him to get that, first win out of the way in the very first race. And you just go out there and just try to get more. Really don't have to worry about points at this point.
Rodney Sullivan's now out in front. The top 12 in the point stands, regardless if they've won or not, advance into the playoffs, and then any driver with a win that may be between 13th and 20th, they would also get in through their checkered flag, as that looked a little scary there on that inside line. Checked him up a bit, and now a couple drivers will tuck down in front there, Bernie Mobbs and Rodney Sullins. But you look around that 12th in the standings cut line right now coming into tonight, based off of drivers that led laps last week. Rodney Sullins, Denny Carroll, and Tim Nofsker, 3-way tie for the 11th position.
Boy, what if it were to come down to a tiebreaker at the final race before the playoffs?
We've almost seen that before. As a matter of fact, I believe there was a season that we had a tie for 12th, and so both drivers got in.
Huh. Like the Jeff Gordon rule.
I mean, technically, we say the top 12, and if you're tied for 12th, technically you are the 12th place driver, so the criteria stands. Got Jeremy Jeffries up there now leading the third line with help from Cy Jones. Saw Jeremy earlier on in practice doing a burnout about the whole second half of pit lane. Michael said he was practicing for later on tonight.
Yep.
"11 laps complete, and all 41 drivers that started this race still up in this lead pack. Nobody's lost the draft. I believe Jeff Crivello is that last driver back there in the Dale Senior throwback, but they're all still up here. Good to see that. Nobody in danger of possibly going a lap down if we continue under this green flag run. And we're going to go 3 wide for the lead. Sullins on the bottom, Roberts in the middle. Jeffries had a run on the back straightaway, but look at the ground they lose through the corner.
Yeah, but they get it all back when they come out, when they get onto the straightaways here, and that high lane is going to really mess up the middle one.
It's Jeremy Jeffries, Cy Jones, Keith Bynum, Glenn Harris, Brian Rawson, all up there on that outside line. Doug Kulik there as well. Nice to see Doug in the field this week. He was having some connection problems, some frame rate issues last week, was not able to start the race. But looks like he's got that all sorted out in that number 23 Toyota. Oh, we've got movement back here, and we got a wreck. Brian Schilling, Glenn Harris. Oh, and this is going to be a corner wreck. These are some of the worst.
Did Cody Lamas make it through?
I don't know. Oh, Billy Ellison's up and over.
Randy Waluigi's in it. The 26 is in it. The 111 to 088 has a lot of front end damage.
So does Brian Schilling.
And Cody Lamas, who just came to a complete stop, it looked like.
There's Chris Elliott. Oh, man, Novskar. We mentioned him in that three-way tie for 11th place, former champion.
Black smoke coming out of that 088 gray ghost. Man, that's not a good sign.
That is
the gray
terminal.
Ghost is spewing some gray smoke.
I mean, there are times that we'll see where they can actually repair the engine, get it out there, but there's no way that thing's going to be up to speed. Joe DeSpirito there may be involved. Now it comes down to a question of who ended up getting the most damage. There's a Nick Gunther approved paint scheme there, the Viking Motorsports car with Doug Woolley, John Forgione, the passenger side door all caved in. Let's take a look and see what happened as the field is waiting for the pace car to pick them up. First car I saw get out of shape was the 4 of Brian Schilling. I think someone else might have actually gotten squirrely right ahead of him.
We saw Brian Schilling leading that outside line here not too long ago, but...
Oh, yep. Bynum got out of shape. I don't know if he got a bad bump from Glenn Harris.
Oh, Jesus. It just is everybody.
Yeah, that's why these corner wrecks are so bad.
That was, what, 3 flips in the single wreck?
There may have been more than 3. Donnie Garrett in the middle of that. Doug Hulick.
Randy Wah.
I already know one on board I want to go with here.
What, Cody Lamas?
Well, that could be one.
TV2.
Terry Bombard was in the middle of that. I see Joe DeSpirito there.
Oh my gosh, there's at least 5 people flipping in this wreck.
John Forgione, he was upside down.
I'm not even going to try to keep count. Because I'll easily lose count at this rate.
But I want to see how Cody Lamas made it through this wreck.
We're going to focus real quickly on the 10 of Terry Bombard. Wow, that 111 got turned and shot straight up the track.
It was on top of the 26.
Craig Hagley was also involved, just trying to compile a list here of the drivers that were collected. Keep seeing more and more drivers that I didn't see initially. Let's go back up. Let's focus on the 8 of Glenn Harris, and we'll go to our chopper cam. This, I think, was a bunch of stack up, maybe some uneven bumping on the back straightaway. Watch all the cars up in this third lane.
Right about there.
And then as Glenn checks up, trying to allow Keith to gather the thing back in, Brian Rawson gets into the back of him. And it's just on from there. All right, we'll take the opportunity here for some onboards.
Let's go on board with the FRN machine. Jessica Shelton did a great job getting through this thing.
He's running in the 31st position. There's DeSpirito up ahead, who was involved.
Oh, my
Wow. Oh, John Godfrey. I didn't have him on the list there and saw him get that late hit there to Craig Hagley.
You're saying he just made the list?
He just... not the list you want to make, though.
John Gilbert Godfrey. Cody Lamas. He passed him, Seth.
I'm so used to him being in the 84.
And then just riding back here.
Oh, little late hit there. Oh, Cody was actually in this. So was Doug Woolley. So was Jason Scheck. So the list continues to grow.
I didn't see a lot of damage on him, though.
He doesn't. I was told he didn't have any damage, so.
Let's see if our camera survives on any of the drivers involved here. Do we risk it? 111 of Ron Hagelin. What does he see? I don't know if the roof cam's the right camera to have. We probably should have done the in-car camera.
Look in my eyes, what do you see? Oh, and there it
Nothing.
goes.
That's what I see. Static. Oh, first caution of the night, and it is a big one, figuratively and literally. And surprisingly, only 2 drivers have retired out of the event after what we just saw. As we're getting ready to go back green, those drivers would be John Forgione and Jeff Crivello. Everybody else made repairs.
The 088 still in the race.
I was just about to say, he's actually still out there on the racetrack.
That was one of the cars I expected you to say. I mean, you saw that gray smoke coming out of that thing, and you see him on pit road there coming back onto the track.
Got to be severely down on power, but I mean, look at the crumple.
They didn't even beat the hood down. Well, every point matters here in this series, and we could have another big wreck just like we had and have more drivers out of the race. Right now, Nofsker is scored in the 39th position. If he picks up a couple more spots, hey, 35th, 36th pays out higher points than 39th, so we'll see if he's able to continue here and salvage something. As green flag back in the air, a little stack up there at the rear. I believe that was John Godfrey having a bit of a moment there.
Oh, we're already back green? I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's how the race happens, Michael. It's green flag, yellow flag, eventually white flag, checker flag. That's how races work.
Sometimes red flag.
Sometimes red flag. Can you imagine a red flag in NR? When the game teams a wreck bad enough, it just red flags the race.
You know, I want to say it was NASCAR Sim Racing. Actually did have red flags in it.
Really?
I think the Technics games did too.
Well, that was only when they had. I was only online and when it had a really bad wreck, like a flip or something. But I think NASCAR Sim Racing had it where, it could also rain on oval tracks and bring out a red flag that way.
So red flags when it had a flip. All right, so we are on our 6th red flag
of the season.
No, of the night. That caution came out, I believe, on lap 13 coming to 14. We would have been about roughly 5 laps away from green flag pit stop, so this kind of extends that window.
They were like 7, I think. I think they were like 7 to go, like 7 laps left on fuel.
So that kind of shifts the window now, with us going back green. Looks like now we'd be looking at potential green flag pit stops somewhere in the, 36, 37 lap range.
Should we?
Rodney Sullins continues to show the way. We're going to drop to the back of the pack here now as we're up to full speed. We saw Tim Nofsker go a lap down. Now we'll start to see drivers that really paid the price in that wreck. Billy Elliser was up and over. He's off the pace. There's Brian Schilling.
How can a 088 see out of his hood?
Should we find out?
I mean, if you want to.
Yeah, you can still see.
Wow, look at the speed.
I hope he doesn't run cockpit view.
He can't get to 4th gear. That thing is droning in 3rd gear right now. Top speed 147 miles per hour.
He's going to blow it at some point.
It's going to be a long night if that engine survives. Reminds me of that one Daytona 500 race, Michael, where, who was it, Matt Rod and Poteet were badly damaged to the tandem that, they had no hoods. I think they were going 120 miles per hour in a 2-car tandem.
They were just flooring it to the corners.
Well, now you start to see some of these drivers that are working their way to the front that were able to be either just ahead or get through that wreck. I believe that Greg Palmer was actually behind that wreck when it occurred, and now he's up here inside of the top 10. Last time by scored in 8th. Denny Carroll was also behind the wreck. He's now about to break into the top 10. Last time by, he was in 11th. And Grant Wesley, I think Grant may have been just in front of that wreck, or may have had the benefit of getting by on the inside. He's now, last time by, in the 12th position. Donnie Garrett there in the 77. I believe he actually got a piece of that big wreck, but doesn't look the worse for wear.
I'm surprised they only have 2 lines going right now. Like we saw at the start of the race, they were very quick to get 3 grooves going, but
Kyle,
taking it a little bit easy right now.
I will tell you this: nothing will scare drivers into racing sensibly than a big wreck.
Well,
it won't take long. We'll see a third line form again here, but
nothing will scare Cody Lamas more than a huge wreck.
As Tim
a lot of
Knopfsker
drivers
bypasses the field in reverse.
A lot of drivers have that, well, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger kind of mentality, and just go back to doing what they were doing, before the wreck started too, so.
They might be scared of going 3 wide as well, because if they catch that 088 at the wrong place, where does the third line go?
Now they got a couple of cars that are way off the pace. Saw the 088, the 26. I think there may have been another one there.
For Brian Schilling.
Yep, the 4 car.
I believe also Glenn Harris, Jason Scheck are running just a ways off this lead pack as well. I believe that's the 26 just up ahead there. About 2/3 of the back straightaway ahead of the race leaders. Most everybody up in that middle groove. Josh Metallic, Jeremy Jeffries, Chuck McClure trying to make something happen on the bottom.
Not a lot of really room down there.
They had Robert Breedlove, but see he kind of threw out the parachute and jumps up into that space in the middle groove. Sean Prime back there as well in the 15 car. Found out last week, Sean Prime, he brought it home in the 8th position, but he had some pretty good damage on that machine, involved in an earlier wreck, but was able to salvage a top 10 run. Sean in his first full-time season here in the Talladega Challenge Series in a long, long time.
That inside line got another car. Denny Carroll jumped to the inside, so they got, I was going to say they got some more behind them, but whoever that car was leading there got back in line, so now Donnie Garrett jumps to the bottom.
If that inside line keeps moving forward, they'll get more of these leaders that will jump down there with them as they're about to catch that 26 of Elliser. He'll move up to the outside line, let these 2 lanes pass. Bob Seminara in the 712, right now in the 5th position. Seminara was the highest finishing driver not in the playoffs last season. Looks like we've got 32 drivers up to speed in this lead pack now. Brian Lovell has broken off from this pack. Terry Bombard as well. We saw Terry was up and over, so it's got to be at least some aerodynamic damage for that car, if not engine damage. They keep trying to generate something here on this inside line. They just don't have the numbers, it seems. And a big thing that they need as well would be a third lane to form to be able to help them move forward also. But right now, nobody seems willing to try that.
Something I noticed too, is that the suck-up isn't as good as it was with the other mod.
Which is actually surprising here at this racetrack, because, yeah, it looks like visibly there's not as much suck-up. And we heard from drivers last week they felt there was more suck-up at Talladega. I ended up actually finding out they did make a little bit of a tweak to the setup between season 64 to 65. A little bit less rear ride height and a little less wedge.
Well, yeah, you want to keep the back of your car, I think, on the ground pretty much, but you also don't want to keep the nose up, the nose of your car up in the wind either.
You want to keep the back of your car on the ground. Well, there are about 6-7 drivers that didn't listen to you so far in this race.
You know what's funny is that a lot of us sound like we're car guys, but if you were to get us, if you put a car in front of us in real life, we'd have no idea.
No idea. I need you to change a tire. That's the round thing, right?
A red light just came on. It's in the shape of an engine. Is that good?
Oh, why did it turn green? No, you know what? No, hold on, because I know he sometimes watches this, and I kind of hope he's watching now. I witnessed Dylan Young changing a tire at Daytona one year when me and him went to the Daytona 500, and it was the most pathetic thing I've seen in my life.
Question is, did Dylan change the tire or did the tire change Dylan?
I think the tire changed Dylan.
Brian Schilling.
However, there's one thing that me and you have over both Kyle and Dylan, though.
What is that?
We both got to hit Dominic Mysterio with the chair.
We did.
And I outclassed you.
On the second day.
Actually, so then technically we're even.
We are even. We need a rubber match. We need the real Dominic to hit now and find out who actually...
Dominic Mysterio is winning at life.
He is.
He's the Intercontinental Champion. He's got a smoking hot real wife.
He gets to make out with Liv Morgan.
And an on-screen girlfriend that's Liv Morgan.
He gets to make out with Liv Morgan on screen. Makes me extremely jealous.
We just saw Brian Schilling going a lap down there. What a difference a season makes. Last year, or last season I should say. Well, we could say last year. Season 64 was partially in 2024. But had that streak in the regular season of, what was it, top 5 finishes, right? Yeah. And he started out the season strong last week with a 10th place run, but early damage in that big wreck, and he's now -1 in the 36th position. He and Billy Ellis are right now, both 1 lap down, would be in the free pass position, but we're about to have another couple drivers go a lap down here in a few moments. I believe that both Terry Bombard and Brian Lovell not that far up ahead.
Is there a minimum speed for the game?
There is not.
Oh, that's a good thing. I was kind of worried about Tim Nofsky right there. Saw that he can't even make it to 4th gear. So
the one thing I would hope is if Nofsky's engine does grenade, he's ready for it and throws in the clutch. Because if that engine does die on the racetrack, that could bring out a debris yellow. And we have yet to see these drivers yet this season make a green flag pit stop. And we're getting close here, about maybe 6 laps away, 6-7 laps away from when they're going to have to start thinking about that. And I know that obviously, you know, in visuals, maybe it's the only difference of the Xfinity cars to the Aero 88 cars that we ran for the last 3 or 4 seasons, but I don't know. Maybe just even visibly here. I think these cars may be a little bit higher up off the ground. It might make things a little bit different for these drivers when they get ready for that art of hot pitting. You see Sullins has kind of migrated everybody from that middle groove down to the yellow line, so that is a clear indicator that they are preparing themselves for heading on to pit road.
You mentioned that. I was just informed most of these cars are about 4 projected, some 5 projected, some that pitted at the last minute. They're about 5 projected, so.
Rodney Sullins, you'd have to think, leading most of this run would be one of those at the 4 projected. So we'll expect to see him pitting around lap 35.
It's got to be what everyone's getting ready for right there. A lot of single file right now. I've got a few drivers, trying to get that middle groove going, but most of them are on the bottom right now. Not really doing a whole lot right now. So I'm just trying to mentally and physically prepare for those green flag pit stops.
We did have a handful of drivers that did come down pit road a second time to top off under our only caution. Ulysses Sandoval, Brian Rawson, Chris Elliott, Cody Lamas, Graham McDonald. So those would be some of those drivers that could maybe go a little bit further if they chose to here on this green flag run.
Well, the question is, will they, though? Because if you get out of sequence, you're going to lose the pack one way or another.
Yeah.
But even if you top off, I still believe that coming down pit road with the pack or something would be easier. It would be an easier way to keep your position.
I wonder if Cody went to the Michael Norman, Joshua Mercurio School of Hot Pitting.
Yeah, I was about to say that too. It's like, I wonder if Cody will try to hot pit, because it'll be kind of weird to see him slow down for pit road and get run over by everybody. I guess that's why he's at the back.
Tim Nofsky still soldiering on. Good thing he's sponsored by Nationwide. They'll cover that wrecked race car.
Little bit.
Are they on his side?
We should get a card.
Certainly
Oh,
would
there you
hope
go.
so.
Pit stops. Here we go.
Jeffries, Garrett, Carroll,
Carroll.
Wah,
Luigi.
and
There we go.
Hagelin. First green flag pit stops of the season. Got to make sure you get that thing woed down. You don't want to get a black flag. I think at this point of the race, if you got one, you'd have greater odds of a caution saving you. We're going to have to make at least one more pit stop before the conclusion of this race. That, I think, would be the money stop where you absolutely have to execute. As I believe our race leader's coming in this time.
Got a whole bunch of cars coming down this time. Whoa.
Wow, Grant and Sean
Not the,
Prime, both very aggressive there on pit road entry.
Thought the 55 was going to get run over there by Grant Wesley at first, but they were able to avoid each other.
Bunch of drivers on pit road there. Turns the lead over, I believe, to the 31 of Bernie Mobbs. Making their way around Mike Mangialardi in the 029. I believe he was part of that first group that came to pit road. Same for Ron Hagelin in the 111. This might make things a little bit interesting for some of these leaders to try and get around Hagelin before they have to dive to pit lane. Oh, Hagelin's coming back in, it looks like. Oh, Metallic got into the back of Sandoval.
Hopefully that won't be a black.
Looks like everybody got on safely there. Ooh.
Oh, okay. I thought that was just for a second, but it's... see, I hate that.
Technically the 09, yeah.
Oh,
Jeremy Jeffries
gracious.
way to the bottom there to get by the slower cars of, looks like Grant Wesley and
Split them 3
655,
wide.
and this might be the battle for the lead.
I think
question mark?
I think this is going to be the race lead here. Denny Carroll. Oh, Donnie trying to fit his way in line there. Contact with Grant Wesley. That was very nearly our second yellow. And now we got to move up the racetrack because you got the drivers that just pitted merging here on this inside line through 1 and 2. Oh, this is going to be highway traffic on the back straightaway. Where do you go? We're 4 wide. Oh my gosh.
I don't want to be reminded of highway traffic after the night I had last night. But
oh,
there we go.
There we go. Grant Wesley gets Paglia. Look out, he's coming back down the track. I think everyone's going to avoid them. Oh, nope.
Oh,
Demar gets Paglia.
No, not Richard Martin.
Caution's going to wave right after the cycle of green flag pit stops.
Well, on the bright side is we shouldn't have too many cars trapped a lap down.
I believe there were only 2 drivers a lap down at the time that yellow flew, to your point. And I'm also seeing that a couple of drivers did get nabbed for speeding on pit road. Bob Seminara and Graham McDonald.
Oh, caution sure saved them.
That will save them. They will have to EOL. But they at least will not have to do a pass-through and lose the draft. Well, we kind of saw it play out. It was looking like maybe, just maybe, we were going to get lucky and they'd be able to settle out that 4 wide as they were 3 wide up to speed, trying to get by some of the drivers that had just merged back onto the racetrack. And I believe it's Grant Wesley and Chuck McClure that are going to make some door-to-door contact. Watch that neon yellow machine there in the middle.
I mean, just the way they were right there, I feel like this was just inevitable. I mean, BSR is a wide track, but just ran out of room there.
I'm not rightly certain that was Grant's fault. I think the 55 may have bumper grabbed the 77 ahead of him. Oh, and then
Or Richard Martin, just wrong place, wrong time there.
Nowhere to go. Let's get an aerial look here, and we'll again look at the neon yellow machine of Grant Wesley. We'll focus on
I almost thought
him.
you were going to say Neon Moon. I was going to break into that song.
Of a neon moon.
Brooks
Copyright.
and Dunn classic right there.
But watch the bright green machine to his outside. Let's see if he gets into the left rear quarter panel of the silver 77.
Oh, there was already one bump right there.
Right here. Yep.
Yep.
Doug Hewlett gets down in the apron to avoid. He spins out, and then,
Just heard there was a couple of wrecks in the pits. One of them was last week's winner, Chuck McClure.
Pit road was crazy last week, and sounds like it's just as full of mayhem this week. Let's see if we can find the 17. Oh, yeah, coming to the entrance of pit lane.
And I'm being told the other one involved Bernie Mobs.
Little stack up there. There's the 31 getting some damage. And let's see if we can jump forward here, find out what happens to Bernie. Trying to get to his stall. Oh, and then he gets tagged by the 22 of Greg Palmer. Do they service the car like that?
No, I don't think they will.
Just having to wait for everybody to go by, it looks like. I think they fixed the hood on the 088. I don't think it's going to help him as far as speed, but at least looks a little prettier. Knopfsker right now is 5 laps down. Last car running in 38th. Jason Scheck has taken his car back behind the wall. That was about 15 laps ago, joining John Forgione and Jeff Crivello in the garage area. Brian Schilling, Billy Elliser, I do believe, are going to get the free pass. There you see them going around, getting their laps back. So we'll have 36 drivers on the lead lap. Elliser will now be 1 lap down, and Knopfsker, as we mentioned, 5 laps down. We'll get the green flag on lap 39's completion onto 40. So if you're keeping track at home, we'd be looking around lap 59 for that final pit stop of the evening.
That's a Camaro pace car.
Camaro pace car.
All right, we got Mark Gonzalez in our chat, coming off a victory last night in the Esports Oval League Grind Cup Series at Darlington. Says, why do I know Cody Lamas' name?
Because Cody Lamas is actually Cody Yamas.
He is actually Cody Yamas, yes. That was maybe one of the funniest things for me, because back when he was a part of my offline series, I was taking Spanish, and double L, the word name, was Yama. So it was Cody Yamas. And then JTN calls him Cody Yamas, and it's like it's all full circle. Getting ready to go back green. Denny Carroll inherited the lead after the pit stop cycle was complete. He'll lead Randy Waugh
Luigi
to the green flag. Ken Roberts, Brian Rawson, Bob Seminara, the top 5, with Sean Prime, Greg Palmer, Jeremy Jeffries, Rodney Sones, who's led 24 laps here tonight, and Ulysses Sandoval, the top 10. Nice long green flag run there, but we've crossed the halfway threshold. Do things start to get a little crazy?
Boy, I saw some smoke out of somebody right there. I don't know
who that was down all the way at the bottom. Was that the 088?
That was the 088.
guess it was tire smoke or something that I saw there, but I thought somebody had an engine problem or something on the start, but everybody looks
Hopefully
fine.
nobody lost a gear.
That could have been too, but looks like everybody's up to speed.
Yeah, saw a couple of drivers lose gears last week, leading to some stack-up wrecks on the restarts.
Outside line is preferred right now. You see Bob Seminara lead. I believe that's Seminara leading that inside line.
You would be correct, and yeah, I think we'll see more and more drivers kind of migrate up to that middle line. When they're double file, middle line is the preferred lane. When they start getting 3 wide, that's when the inside line is the preferred line. And we really didn't see anybody get 3 wide during that last green flag run, that pit stop cycle. Now as we've crossed over the halfway mark, we'll see if anybody is going to venture up there, especially some of those guys mid-pack there around Doug Kulik, John Godfrey, Chris Elliott. Do they maybe jump up there to try and gain some track position here in preparation for that final trip to pit road?
No, we didn't see him go 3 wide, but we saw him go 4 wide.
We
and
did.
Then they wrecked shortly after.
So, yep. Now you see them running just double file again. Sure, they'll calm down a little bit until they get closer to pit stop time.
Jeremy Jeffries back down to the inside line, trying to pick
Jeffries
up Bob
at the jump.
Seminara.
Bob Seminara. What was his nickname?
Biscuit.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And Gravy?
We got to find somebody in the field to nickname Gravy.
Well, we have Mr. Cheeseburger right up there.
We do.
Next time somebody wrecks with Bob Seminara, they automatically become Gravy.
We need a driver to volunteer to have the nickname Gravy.
I see Sean Prime leading that inside line now, the 15 car.
That's side by side for 5th with Ulysses Sandoval. Had that huge wreck over in the entrance to turn 3. Seen a lot of drivers off the pace as a result of it, but a lot of drivers as well that were involved in that wreck that may have gotten some dings and dents, but it hasn't hurt their speed any. Randy Waugh,
Luigi.
in that 3rd position, he was involved in the wreck, up inside of the top 5 right now. John Godfrey back there in the 7-Eleven, Craig Hagley in the 82, they're just outside of the top 10, they were involved. I believe Glenn Harris in that 8 car, he was involved. That car looks pretty well up to speed, right in front of our pole sitter, Mark Paglia. We do have a 3rd line forming, but it's a long ways back. That's Joe DeSpirito in the 24.
And
Grant Wesley, the 88.
And you really need somebody behind you. So looking on that inside line, you saw Jessica Shelton was right up there. She was the last car in line. She had somebody behind her, pull out a line, go back up to that middle line, and then she just got completely abandoned there on the bottom. So, I mean, you really need somebody behind you in order to keep up with the draft.
Same thing happened right there to Demar and to Rodney Sullins. They both have now found their way up into that middle groove also. Kelly Causey back there, 3rd car in this outside line, as they're going to have to duck low there on Nofsker. I noticed there was actually some rear end damage on DeSpirito from the earlier wreck that has not been repaired. And now more drivers moving up there. Paglia, Rodney Sullins trying to find his way back up to the front via the 3rd lane. And that inside line has died. Palmer dropping back now there. You talked about it there, Kyle. He's the last car in line. And just look at the gap that's increasing between himself and Seminara. Eventually the same might happen to Seminara. We can start to see him starting to lose some ground there to Jeremy Jeffries. So yeah, unless you have a lot of drivers down there tucked up one behind the other, it's bad news when you're that last car in line. Denny Carroll still out in front. He's led the last 10 laps, coming off a 12th place run last week in the season opener. Looking to win his way into his first playoff appearance. Ken Roberts, a former winner in this series, but it's been a few seasons since we last saw him go to victory lane. Randy Waugh looking for his first win of his career here as well. And his first trip into the playoffs, coming off that runner-up finish last week in the opener. And Brian Rawson started this race towards the rear of the field. Had some issues last week with a couple of restarts in the closing stages. I remember back to when he got his first career win here in the series, and then he followed it up with a second and a third. Made it into the playoffs, was actually in the Final Four competing for the championship in the 2-race finale. Had a career year, but trying to get back to victory lane. And this guy's been close many times. Runner-up finishes multiple times in season 64. Sandoval trying to close out the deal right now, holding down that final spot in the top 5.
Say the guy probably in the field that we're all just waiting for to finally break out and win one of these things. I mean, it's bound to happen the way he ran last season. So currently having a good run in the 5th position right now.
Josh Metallic right behind him, 7th place last week in the opener. Had a great season last year. Back-to-back victories, one of which was a must-win since he wasn't going to be there the following week. Advanced his way in the playoffs. And behind him, you got Keith Bynum, another driver looking for his first win. There was some movement mid-pack there.
Somebody got out of shape there. I believe that was looked like the 28.
Yeah, maybe. I think you're right. Might have been a bad bump from maybe Kelly Causey or Greg Palmer. You can see the gap here as there was definitely a checkup trying to allow Paglia to gather that machine back in. And Causey's going to pay the price. He's up there in no man's land, and he's going to the back of the pack. About halfway through a fuel run here. 10 laps before we'd start to see some radios light up. Drivers having to hit pit road. Brian Schilling got the free pass under the last caution. He'll now lose that lap once again, leaving us with 35 drivers still on the lead lap. I want to remind everybody that's tuning in to our future broadcasts on the Rolling Thunder Gaming side. We will be here next Monday night, as we'll be bringing you coverage of the 3rd race of the season for the Bare Bones Racing Series at the debuting Super Speedway, Coca-Cola Super Speedway. Should be a good one there. Wild card race. And
I haven't heard that track mentioned in quite a while.
Oh yeah. It's been a while since I've actually seen an online race there. I've participated in a couple of races, but I've never actually spectated one in a long time at that venue, so that should be interesting. And it's making its debut on the Bare Bones Racing schedule. We've had 2 incredible races here to kick off the season, with Jeremy Jeffries getting the win at Kansas, Jeff Supta last Monday night at North Wilkesboro. When you go to a super speedway, the old adage, if you're in it, you can win it. And there's a lot of drivers that might be chasing their first bare bones win of their career on Monday night. But then they will be off the following Monday night, obviously, for Memorial Day weekend. And we will not be bringing you coverage of the next 2 Talladega Challenge races.
Well, I mean, don't say never, because, I could always ask for the stream key, and it could just be me and Kyle up here.
You don't have the stuff.
So it'll be a pretty blank broadcast.
No, we've actually got it official that we're not going to be broadcasting the next 2 weeks.
Listen, a blank broadcast is better than a normal broadcast, than no broadcast. You know what I'm saying?
Is it?
At least it's getting out there.
Well, we've actually already talked with administration, and we are not broadcasting the next 2 weeks, so we will resume.
Maybe I'll try to race the next 2 weeks.
Hey, go for it.
Yeah, right. When
I can't wait.
I'll give them a live broadcast while we're racing.
Well, we'll be back resuming our coverage on June 5th, continuing its regular season, and I cannot wait to come into that race and say that in 2 weeks, Michael Norman got himself banned from driving in the Talladega Challenge Series.
Pit stops coming here. Seminara coming down pit road. Donnie Garrett.
This is interesting because the window's open, right, to make it the rest of the way. So these drivers are kind of going for the undercut here, maybe hoping that a yellow will come out, gain them some track position. We had a caution come out at the close of the first cycle of green flag pit stops. Drivers pitting now would be taking on a can and a half of fuel. I believe drivers that if they stretched it as far as you can possibly go here, which is around lap 59, they'd be coming down and only taking 1 can. I think we got more coming to pit road here. I just saw some more radios lighting up. Maybe the race leader, Denny Carroll, coming in here.
Yep.
Ken Roberts and Randy Waugh as well.
Luigi.
Waugh as well, Luigi?
Well, I was trying to say Luigi, but you said that was a little too fast.
I didn't know Luigi was in the field.
Oswald Enslow.
Luigi is everywhere. Not seeing any radios light up here down the back straightaway, so these drivers now all might be looking to run long and get about 5 laps further to when they absolutely are going to have to come to pit road. Only 5 drivers, it looks like, going with that little bit of an undercut strategy.
Everybody else has about four projected laps.
Brian Rawson in the 6 now out in front after the top 3 dove to pit road. First laps he's led here this season. Slower car of Billy Elviser.
We'll see if
Up
maybe
high and
things
out
can
of
be
the
a little
way.
bit cleaner on this run, the pit stops, huh, Seth?
Well, I mean, the pit stops were clean. We did have a couple of drivers that got some black flags. It was the aftermath, everybody trying to figure out where they were going to cycle through as other drivers were merging onto the back straightaway. That's what led to that last yellow.
Hopefully things won't be too crazy.
Bernie Mobbs, Kelly Causey on pit road. Just 2 cars. And we're going to have a lot more. I'm seeing more radios dialing up here, so we're going to have a lot more on pit road as Keith Bynum gets a good push there by Rodney Sullins. Clear for the top position. Now he'll jump down to the bottom. That Primetime Racing League Chevrolet Camaro. This, I think, is going to be the big pack.
Getting down to 10 laps to go here. Probably stretching it out. That way they can take the least amount of fuel, needed to make it to the end here.
Ooh, near contact back there between Martin and Mangialardi, but we'll have about, 7, 8 drivers here with this group.
We're not seeing we haven't seen a big group come to pit road yet this time.
Not
during
yet.
This cycle.
Give it time. Rodney Sullins makes his way back out in front. Currently, he's in possession of the bonus point for most laps led. 25, now make it 26 circuits at the front of the field.
That chat box is really lighting up. I think we're going to see a bunch of them come this time by.
A lot of space being given there amongst the top 6, top 7, so I think a lot of them are pitting this time by. Here we go. Just about everybody else. Ooh, we're going to be 3, contact. Sandoval, Prime, DeSpirito's around. Chuck McClure's boxed in there behind Greg Palmer, Shelton, Harris. No caution going to come out for that. That's all deemed off the racing surface, so there's a lot of drivers that are going to pay the price there in terms of track position. Race leader Craig Hagley. Looks like we're waiting for 4 drivers. Those 4 right there back to Chris Elliott to complete this cycle. First lap led of the night for Craig Hagley as he'll lead Cy Jones down pit road. Cody
Hold
Lamas
on to her.
locked the brakes up, got the inside wall, but he'll make pit road entrance at least. Chris Elliott, pretty hot coming in as well, and now is the question we saw. Oh, massive wreck out of 2! Caution's gonna fly. At least 3 cars caught air. Garrett, Carroll, and Roberts. Well, that caution's going to save a lot of those drivers that had the problems on pit road there.
I was about to say, that's a tough break for some, a good break for others.
Carroll had led 17 laps. Roberts was running second most of that run.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, he was just up there leading not too long ago.
Wow.
Yeah, Denny Carroll was the leader, before the all the pit stops started. So this could really jumble up running order too. I don't know if everybody had made a pit stop yet.
This is giving me, I think it was either the first or second race when Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway debuted on the schedule. Caution came out near the end of the race. Doug Hulick was on pit road, and he was able to come off of pit road, take the caution, and be the race leader, won that race under yellow. Chris Elliott, remember, was part of that group of 4, that final group of 4 that came to pit lane. He was on pit road when the caution came out. They got the pit stop done. All he had to do was make it to the start-finish line, and now he's the race leader. Oh, Donnie Garrett smoking on the back straightaway. He, Ken Roberts, and Denny Carroll were the 3 I saw in the middle of that wreck, and here's a look at what happened. Oh, they were coming up on the slower car of Sean Prime. Roberts gets into the back of Carroll. Nowhere for Garrett to be able to go. Breedlove gets collected as well.
Similar to the last wreck we saw. That was right at the end of green flag pit stops. I think they were trying to avoid some slower cars that had just come off pit road. And
I mean, you would think your mind would tell you to slow down.
I can't recall a race where we've seen the finish of green flag pit stops causing as much problems as it's had. That's a tough spot right there. I mean, the 15 is doing exactly what he's supposed to do. You're allowed to merge in turn 1. You have to keep it down there on the bottom line. The tough thing is the drivers behind him are 3 wide. So Carroll doesn't have much of a lane to be able to use to get around the outside of the 15. I don't think he's given a whole lot of room to move up either. Let's see right here. He's got Seminara to his outside. Actually goes to the inside there of Keith Bynum, and yeah, this...
Not really. Nowhere to go.
Richard Martin got a piece of it there as well, as did the 23 of Doug Hulick. So caution comes out. We can make it on fuel, but now this yellow flag's going to have us less than 10 to go.
Ooh, this is going to get exciting then. And
yeah.
We both know it. Remember, Seth, what's that cutoff? What's the caution cutoff? About
Well,
64?
Now with the new EXC, we've been told around lap 63.
Is it 63? I thought it was 64.
Well, it would have to be before the completion of 64. It would have to be at the start of lap 64 for them to be able to maybe open up pit road and get a 1-lap shootout. It's like Ron Hagelin and Terry Bombard. They're going to get the free passes. They'll get back in the lead lap. We'll have 34 drivers on the lead lap. Donnie Garrett is out of the race. He mentioned his car left the scene smoking. He's going to finish, well, I think he's going to finish 37th. I don't think Tim Nofsker will be able to complete enough laps to pick up that spot. He's 8 laps down right now, and we're about to hit 6 laps to go. And Chris Elliott, the timing of that yellow, same for Craig Hagley.
Couldn't be any more perfect.
No, absolutely not. They're now going to be the front row here for this restart. Looks like Rodney Sullins will be 3rd. Mark Paglia in 4th, Ulysses Sandoval 5th, then Metallic, Wesley, Jeffries, Causey, and Mobbs going to be the top 10. Well, outside of the completion of the cycle of pit stops here on these last 2 runs, we haven't really seen that third line utilized all that much. I guarantee you we're going to have a lot of drivers migrating up here on this restart.
It's time to go.
Yep, it is.
This restart's going to be with 5 laps remaining. Again, as we documented, if they get to the completion of lap 64, next flag is going to end the race.
Yep.
Well, Chuck McClure's already won his way into the playoffs. Right now, the 17 is scheduled to restart back in 23rd, so a lot would have to go his way to win 2 in a row. It's looking like we may have our second different winner on the season that could also punch their ticket into the playoffs. Question is, who will that be? Last week, they were racing tooth and nail. There were blocks. There was slicing. There was dicing. But they were able to finish the race under regulation. We did have a wreck on the final lap, but they were able to race that final lap all the way back to the checkered flag. Can we get to the white flag here? We'll have to find out. It's Chris Elliott with the fortune of the timing of that yellow who'll lead us back to green. Craig Hagley to his outside. Both of these drivers chasing their first wins here in the Tally Challenge. Hold your breath, it's about to get exciting. Green flag waves, here we go.
So he's going to have the advantage here on the restart. Looks like Chris Elliott for the time being. Does he go to the bottom or does he try to move up to that middle lane? Looks like he's going to stay on the bottom right now.
Only a couple drivers off of 2 into that third lane. I thought we'd see more. Graham McDonald, Doug Kulik, the only 2, at least for the time being. Few more up there now. I see Roberts. I saw Despirito, Shelton. Looks like Doug Woolley moving up to that third lane as well. Trying to, at least. Hagley led that lap by about maybe a wheel. Big push from a fellow Ford and Mark Paglia. It's hard to tell, but that 28 and 82 might have the same number font there. Not quite. Chuck McClure's trying to make a run for it. He's leading that third line with Sean Prime. They got about half dozen drivers up there. Can they get there in time is the question. Whoa, lot of movement in that middle lane. We're forcing possibly 4 wide there, so we're going to come around. This is the point of no return, and there's the wreck. The leaders took the line. We are still racing back.
Elliott inching ahead here.
Sullins now into second. Might be clear. 3 wide behind there with Sandoval, Hagley, Metallic running the top with a push from Jeremy Jeffries. Sandoval gonna dive it low. We're 4. Cars in the wall. Sandoval trying to get clear for the race lead.
What a move by Sandoval. This
oh no, there goes the rest of the field. Sandoval's by his lonesome. Coming around the tri-oval. Ulysses Sandoval is finally going to get that first win. Caution's going to wave. 2 laps to go. Sandoval will take the caution, barring any problems here. Under these pacing laps, Sandoval gets his first career win. Looks like
over yet.
Mobbs got second and Hagley got third. Now, the only thing that I would wonder about here, and as we go back and look, I'm pretty sure we're going to see he got forced down. He had 2 tires below the yellow line, but I believe he got forced down there by the 09 of Chris Elliott in that move for the win in turn 3. We'll see if we can get these replays here in time, as Sandoval will get the white flag this time by.
We have a lot to digest here.
We definitely do. Let's see if we can start first with the wreck at the start-finish line. I don't even know who it actually began with. I don't know who to focus on here. Looks like, it was last week's winner, Chuck McClure, that it began with.
I think he bumper grabbed off the 21, maybe?
Yep, I think you're correct. Gets Bynum, Cy Jones. He actually catches a ton of air. Roberts, Rawson, Doug Woolley, Greg Palmer, Mike Mangialardi, all collected up in that one. Terry Bombard as well, Richard Martin. And then we get to the back straightaway here. 38 of Rodney Sullins. There you see the contact with Paglia and Jeremy Jeffries. They keep it going after getting up into the wall, and then here off of turn 4, Sullins kind of comes down. Grant Wesley collected up. There's Bob Seminara top of your screen. And this was all coming back to the proverbial checkered flag. We'll take a look at some more replays here in a moment. I want to make sure we don't miss Ulysses taking the checkers as he's received the white. It looks like they're coming out of turn 2. We'll go back and we'll take a look, but at least on that initial look when we were taking a peek at them going into 3, I'm not even really sure that Ulysses really went down below that yellow line.
Yeah, I don't think he did either. I mean, that was an incredible move right there. 4 wide to the lead to get your first win.
Saw 4 wide earlier on tonight. It didn't work. Saw 4 wide here in the closing stages, and it did work for driver 96. Josh Metallic looks like he'd be bringing it home in the 4th position. So back-to-back top 10s for him. Same for Sean Prime, who will currently be scored in 5th. Brian Lovell coming off a 4th place run last week, 6th here tonight. Randy Waugh, runner-up finisher last week, 7th, and Graham McDonald, Mark Paglia, John Godfrey are what the top 10 look like right here under pacing. As this has got to be painstakingly agonizing if you're Sandoval. It's like, go faster, pace car, get me there.
Must go faster.
Just don't pace the pass car.
One of the best laps he's ever taken.
Oh, yeah. Well, he was bridesmaid at least 4 times last season. And as Kyle said earlier, he just wondered when it was going to happen. Tonight is that night. Ulysses Sandoval, his first career win here in the Tally Challenge.
I'll say that's got to be a popular win right there.
Oh, yeah, there we go. That's oh, goodbye, Bob.
Oh, lordy jeez.
Hey, Ulysses drives for the team known as Team Wrecking Ball. It's only fitting that that car is damaged when it gets to do its burnouts.
I hope he
Oh,
can.
yeah, I can't wait for this one.
I hope he can do a burnout after that.
Is the engine toast?
They might be.
Jessica trying
to help.
Can't see there if the engine light is on or not.
We might have to dial him up from all the way back in turns 1 and 2 over here.
He might have to walk to victory lane. Just jump the barricade, take the shortcut.
Just take the ambulance. Somebody call the ambulance.
She's still trying to get him going there.
Yeah, she's got to back up for sure.
Yeah, I think that engine's toast. I think it's a lost cause.
Well, guys, welcome to Talladega, the world's biggest drive-in movie theater.
Yeah, right? What movie is playing tonight?
Yes.
Days of Thunder.
I mean, Ulysses is known as Papa Sandoval, so would it be the God Papa?
Jeez.
Michael's inner Italian is cringing at that joke.
Yeah, I'm screaming right now.
We're going to go back here. We're just going to get an aerial shot into turn 3 and watch this move for the win once again. Door was open. Elliott moved up off the bottom thinking about blocking Rodney Sullins. And look at the push that Sandoval gets from Grant Wesley.
I thought Elliott was in the catbird seat right there. He had able to get out in front, clear everybody, but man, Ulysses got quite a run right there. Good push there from was that Wesley behind him? And
Yep. A couple of Toyotas hooking up there late.
Greatest feeling in the world, coming back to the caution flag, everyone wrecking behind you.
It's happened to me a good time or two.
Oh, they finally
And
got him
they
going.
it. Yeah,
They
Jessica
did
Shelton and
it!
Grant Wesley able to-
He pushed him to the win. Now he's pushing him to victory lane. With a little assistance from Jess as well.
This is just our entire post-race show right here.
This is it. Well, we'll keep the camera on him here and show you the finishing results because I don't think that car is able to do any burnouts. But Ulysses with the victory. Bernie Mobbs, great run there for him. Where did he finish in the opener? 38th. So, wow, this is going to be a huge points day for him.
Imagine being Cody and finishing in 15th.
I don't even want to imagine being Cody. I don't want to be a llama.
Yes,
Craig
you do.
Hagley, where did he finish last week? He was... Was he even in the field? Hold on. I want to make sure that I don't misspeak here. No, he was not in the field last week. So this was actually his first start on the season, so this would be big points for him, finishing on the podium. Josh Metallic, Sean Prime, who finished in the top 10 last week, top 5 this week. We gave you down through the top 10 with Brian Lovell, back-to-back top 6s. Randy Waugh,
Luigi.
back-to-back top 10s there. With 2nd last week, 7th this week. Graham McDonald, Mark Paglia, and John Godfrey, the top 10. Jeremy Jeffries brings it home 11th. Doug Hewlick in 12th. 13th for Joe DeSpirito. Shelton in 14th with Cody Lamas in 15th. Grant Wesley was 2nd coming out of turn 4, and he finishes in 16th with Glenn Harris, Denny Carroll, Keith Bynum, and Mike Mangialardi. Your top 20. Terry Bombard will finish in 21st. Cy Jones, 22nd. Greg Palmer, 23rd. Chuck McClure got that win last week. Made a charge for it here, but got caught up in that wreck at the start-finish line. 24th for him. Doug Woolley in 25th. DeMar in 26th with Ken Roberts, the last driver to finish on the lead lap. Ron Hagelin brings it home in the 28th position, 1 lap down. Same for Robert Breedlove. Brian Rossler is your top 30. Bob Seminara, Kelly Causey, Brian Schilling. Chris Elliott and Rodney Sullins did not reach the conclusion. That's a heartbreak there for Rodney, who was running well all night long, led the most laps. That finish not indicative of the speed out of that race car. Billy Elliser soldiered on with a damaged race car to finish 36th. 3 laps down. Donnie Garrett out of the race in 37th. Nofsker will finish in 38th. And
Nofsker
Jason
finished.
He
though.
did. He did
That
finish
thing
the
did not
race.
blow. I don't know how, but
He picked up, what would have been, 1 point more than what he would have gotten if he had DNF'd. He would have finished 39th, but that's where Jason Scheck finished. John Forgione and Jeff Crivello, the remainder of your field here tonight. Well, that'll take us into our FRN post-race wind-down. Thrilling finish here tonight in the Xfinity Mods debut here at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway here in the Talladega Challenge Series. And let's see if we can get a hold of the driver that brought it home in P3. Let's see if we can dial up Craig Hagley.
User was moved to your channel.
Hey, Craig, it's the guys up here in the FRN booth. You got a copy?
Hey, how y'all doing tonight?
Wild finish here tonight, not without a lot of adventure for this 82 car. Caught up in that big wreck in turn 3 in the early stages of this race. Didn't look like you got that much damage, and obviously it didn't hurt the speed of this machine none. But a big turning point for you, making the call, stay out long on that final green flag pit stop. You catch the caution at the right time, gain a ton of track position, and able to preserve it for the top 5 run here tonight. Crazy race. I can only imagine what it was like behind the wheel of one of these cars tonight.
Yeah, tonight was crazy. It was all about being at the right place at the right time, and I just got lucky and didn't get too much damage in that first wreck. And actually, I missed the pit stop on the lap before and got lucky when the caution come out and nailed it at just the right time to get me up front. And then it got wild there at the end. I just had something extra riding with me somewhere there.
And we talk about early on in the season. We didn't see you in the opener last week. And when it's early on in the season and you hit heartbreak, at least in the first couple of races, if you get that one race, that one good finish with the points as close as they are, you skyrocket through the point standings. So not having a start last week, how important was it to come out swinging, have this solid run here tonight as you're looking to, if not win your way, point your way into the playoff grid?
It makes a big difference to come out and make a good run, good showing whenever I'm able to. But last week, my son's a senior and playing baseball this year, so his year takes precedent over my racing. So anytime that shows up, I gotta hang it up for the night. But it's awesome to come out here and show that good and come out in a new car and look that good. That's got my company name on it. It's a good night.
We saw you working really well there with a fellow Mustang and Mark Paglia. I'm almost wondering, I didn't actually check to see who actually led the lap at the time that caution came out. You guys had just crossed the start-finish line, but, kind of going back, looking over that in the middle of that 3-wide move for the win, anything you maybe could have done differently to keep everybody behind you, bring this thing home, or was it just so crazy that really you kind of were stuck where you were at?
Man, to be honest, I was just hanging on to it. I knew that I had teammates behind me and close in front of me, and I just wanted to see one of us get up there and get to the front and bring it home tonight. But it's great running with everybody out here.
Great run here tonight in your first start of the season. Podium finish in a wild one under the lights at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. Congratulations on surviving here tonight, bringing that thing home in one piece with a solid outing. Craig, before we let you go, floor is yours for thank you sponsors and shout-outs.
For my first shout-out, I want to send my condolences to Rodney Sellens and his wife for the passing of her father, and I understand what it's like to go through all that stuff. Today makes 10 years of losing my grandfather, who was like my dad, so we all have something to think about today, and I really appreciate everybody on the team that welcomed me in and lets me come back every week, and the job that you do, and all the admins here that put on a great show. This is one of the greatest places in the world to come hang out and come race, and I appreciate everything everybody does.
Craig Hagley, a solid outing here tonight, brings it home P3 at BSR. Congratulations on the great performance here tonight. Hopefully this sets the tone for where we see this 82 finishing here the remainder of this regular season.
Appreciate it, guys, and good win, you man.
Let's see if we can now get a hold of our second place finisher here tonight, Bernie Mobbs.
User was moved to your
Hey, Bernie, it's the guys up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Yeah, sure. How's it going?
Going great, but I'll bet it's going even better for you, coming off the heels of a killer last week, 38th in the season opener, but you bring it home here tonight, second place. Kind of puts that Talladega race in the rearview mirror. You gain back a lot of those points you lost. How important was it to make sure that you had a solid outing here tonight and really had a strong car all evening up there inside the top 10 for most of the second half of this race?
Yeah, it was very important. I wanted to finish top 10 at least, and then at the end, there was such a mess. It was amazing I got through it, and I'm certainly happy. Definitely. Made up for last week, totally.
You call it a mess there. You were in the middle of that 4-wide battle going into turn 3. I was asking just moments ago, Craig Hagley, kind of looking back, is there anything you could have done different, or were you kind of boxed in? What about for you there in that situation? Because, you're obviously trying not to wreck in that 4-wide formation and just hoping you come out the other side. with the car not damaged, was there anything you maybe could have been able to do there? Any move you could have made to have your nose be the first one to hit that start finish line coming to the caution?
Not really. Just at the end, I backed off a tad just to kind of scrape through, and then I was able to pick off somebody in third place there and moved up into second. But yeah, he was too far ahead for me to get back to first. But I'll take second any day. That was fantastic. I love it.
We talked about, potential growing pains here in the period of adaptation with this new mod. We saw it last week with a number of drivers out of the race or damaged, including yourself. Here tonight, no different. We had some pretty massive wrecks. Where do you think we are on the scale right now in terms of the comfort level with these cars and what you're able to do in terms of pushing, in terms of moves made, all that type of stuff?
Well, it seems like when you push someone, you actually really push them. You hit them pretty hard, even if not like a super bang, but you feel it push them. And that's good as long as you hit them right. And I've noticed there's been a few incidents where people have banged into each other, but they've been able to save it. So there hasn't been a wreck. So that's always good. So usually if you get touched, you're gone. So I think it's a little growing pains. We'll get used to it. I think the cars handle good. They're fast enough, of course, but I like what they look like. There's some really cool paint jobs out there. So, yep, we'll see what happens next week, but I think we'll get used to it, kind of like we did the Aero 88 when we first started it.
Oh, we look forward. I mean, we've seen some aggressive racing here in the early going, and I can only imagine what we're going to see when, as you say, you guys start to get a little bit more comfortable with this new mod here in the upcoming races. Bernie, congratulations on the great run here tonight. Runner-up finish at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. Before we let you go, floor is yours for thank you sponsors and shout-outs.
Okay, thanks you guys at FRN. I can't wait to get out and watch the replay. And thanks to all the RTG admins. They're putting on a really good show. And it's tough on them. There's so many cars. Other than that, see you guys next week. Keep up the good work.
That's Bernie Mobbs, runner-up finish here tonight. Solid outing under the lights at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. Congratulations on the great run. Best of luck here the remainder of this regular season.
Thank you.
User was moved out.
This
of
next
channel.
interview is going to be quite fun. I can imagine.
Oh yeah. It will be interesting to see here as well. A lot of the drivers that got some good runs here tonight that struggled last week, just how high they jump in the point standings. This driver is one of those. He finished 28th last week. He is P1 here tonight. Let's go down to Victory Lane and dial up Ulysses Sandoval.
User was moved to your channel.
Hey Ulysses, it's the guys up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Can you breathe?
Everyone, one collective sigh.
Oh
Man. I mean, we've seen some incredible finishes here in the Talladega Challenge Series. I don't think we have yet until tonight seen a 4-wide move for the victory. You saw the lane, you stuck the nose in, you made it stick, you come out of turn 4 with the top position coming back to the caution. I can only imagine maybe the multiple emotions running through your head from turn 2 all the way back there to the caution.
Well, I mainly was thinking about Michael because every time I'm in right in top 2, top 3, he always after the broadcast he said, "I told you to make a move and you didn't do it." So coming over there, I was like, "Let's do it." I was gonna push Chris Elliott, but
what happens.
Yeah, I now see. I finally learned Mikey.
The thing is, I don't think Michael said anything on that last lap.
No, he actually didn't. He
what's
didn't
up with
coach you
that?
this time.
Michael.
Maybe Michael's
What's
the
up with
problem.
No, I just think that I didn't have to say anything this time because he knew.
that? I finally learned. I learned the hard way because I kept finishing second every time for being a nice guy. But this time was no more. I coming into this race, I was like, last race I had a bad finish. Tonight I have to get a good finish if I want my playoff goals. I'm not gonna play it nice this time, and it paid off.
It did
No,
indeed.
you mentioned all those second place finishes that you had, and I even mentioned earlier or in the race when we were focusing on you. I said, this 96 car, we all keep, we're just waiting and expecting him to break out and win one of these things. When's it going to happen? and you finally pull it off tonight. Are you feeling more joy or relief after coming so close so many times?
To be honest, my mind is in blank, and there's too much going on right now. You know, win the race. Even the Garland came just to congrats me because he wasn't here. He didn't race, but he joined just to say congratulations. You know, all my friends that were here, even Cody was here. They all were here to support me, and now that I want to race, I also feel relief for everybody, for all the compliments that everybody told me. I'm so happy at this point. I guess that's why I can say I'm happy.
I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but we have seen so many times here in the years that we've covered this Talladega Challenge series, we've seen where it only takes that one win to then spearhead another win, another win. I remember back when Keith Hughes made his first start in this series. He ended up going to victory lane multiple times in his first full-time season. I recalled during this broadcast Brian Rawson, when he got his first career win, he followed it up with 2 more wins during the course of that season. As Kyle alluded to, you finally get the monkey off your back. You park this thing in victory lane. What does this do now for the confidence going forward the remainder of the season? Because we saw you last season on points make a deep playoff run. You're now locked into the playoffs for a second straight season, and you can continue to build on that with a number of regular season races, 7 in total, before we even get to the postseason here in season 65.
Yeah, coming into this race, well, the whole season I had the, how do you call it, a big weight on the back because everybody was asking where are you gonna get first win. So now it's just a relief. I'm more confident. I think it's tough to get the first win because you are thinking about that. How am I gonna get that win? This doesn't work. This doesn't work. What am I gonna do? And now I'm like, okay, I won a race. Okay, so my mind is free. I can freely move now, thinking that I already won a race. I have nothing else to show to everybody. So I just have to be myself the next races, and hopefully that would work.
Well, congratulations on the victory here tonight. Well deserved as we documented the multiple runner finishes you had last season. Great to see you finally break through, get that first career win here in the Talladega Challenge Series. We'll give it the opportunity to decompress, kind of clear your mind here, be able to breathe normally again. But before we let you go, Ulysses, floor is yours for victory lane. Thank you, sponsors, and shoutouts.
All right. Have y'all paying attention about my nickname now?
I did see you are now Ulysses Quagmire Sandoval. Yeah.
Kikiri. All right.
Oh, wow.
The main reason is because last Friday I went to the dentist and I got my wisdom teeth removed. So the next day it got swollen, and when I get back to work, my boss called me Quagmire because of the look of my face. Uh, and yeah, I've done the same. I did the same. I just did. I said giggity, and everybody liked them. My boss, well, I'm now back to normal, but when I was like that, she called me like that, so I just brought that nickname for tonight's nickname. A big shout out to Mama Sandoval. Finally, I got her a win dedicated to her, to Mama Sandoval, to also my teammates, Team Wrecking Ball, Garland Oaks. He came here to congrats me, Javier Negron. He wasn't here, unfortunately. Mike Mangiolori, Graham McDonald, Pat McCarskey, Keith Bynum, and Doug Hewlick, and also my teammates from NCRA were also here. What was Cody doing here?
Doing Cody
Cody
things.
Yep, Cody Lamas, Lil Jess. Oh man, this.
I knew you were gonna get one, buddy.
Thank you guys. This means a lot for me. I win in the big leagues. I'm now looking forward for that championship. It's my next objective.
Well, we could definitely tell after the cool down lap there. Very popular win here tonight. Ulysses Sandoval, your winner this evening at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. Congratulations on your first career victory. Best of luck the rest of this regular season. Go and enjoy this victory.
All right, see you guys. I'm gonna join this victory with, guess with what? With a cheeseburger.
A
There
cheeseburger.
you
There
go.
you go. That's Ulysses Sandoval. He's your winner
User
here
was moved out of
tonight.
your channel.
And when he watches this back, I'll have this little dig at him because he had his wisdom teeth removed here tonight, guys. So that took away, I guess, a little bit of his wisdom. So tonight he raced harder, not smarter.
Wow.
Well, it worked out for
It
him.
worked.
So.
Wow.
It worked. You know,
Yeah.
it's so amazing, this racetrack, Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway, when it was added onto the schedule, because for multiple seasons, I mean, it was, I think, 55 seasons, something like that, where we ran Talladega every single week. And then BSR was added on the schedule. We alternated back and forth. And one of the things that this racetrack has seemed to bring about multiple times now has been the crucial timing of the yellow flag. I mentioned that story about Doug Kulik when he got his first career win in the series at this venue. And consider this, guys. I think only the top 6 had crossed the start-finish line at the time that Chuck McClure spun out and the caution flew. If they're behind the start-finish line, we're under caution. We don't race back. Because that half dozen drivers had crossed the start-finish line, we raced back around, and Ulysses was 5th when we crossed the line that time. He was able to make the move 4 wide for the win. The timing of the yellow playing dividends into the eventual winner again here tonight. This track, I don't know what it is, but it loves to have pretty much the thrilling finishes come down to when that yellow flag flies.
Yes,
Everything just aligned perfectly for him tonight, and like you mentioned, we've seen that happen with other people as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was, we knew he was going to get him one day, and he was here at the end, and it was fun to watch.
Indeed. Got to be up there, possibly towards the top of the list in most exciting finishes we've had here in the Talladega Challenge here on FRN for sure. 4 wide for the lead going into turn 3, and Ulysses Sandoval bringing him back to the caution to pick up his first career win. Becomes the second winner on the season next to Chuck McClure. So those two, we know they're going to go playoff racing. They're locked in through victory. Still 7 more regular season races left to go. We could have as many as 7 different winners go to victory lane, making things very congested up in the playoffs. But cannot wait to see what the rest of this season has in store as Ulysses Sandoval adds his name to the list of drivers that have now taken a checkered flag here in the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series. We appreciate everybody tuning into our coverage here tonight. Hope that you enjoyed as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. Again, next Monday night, we'll have coverage of the Bare Bones Racing Series, 3rd race of their 65th season at the Coca-Cola Speedway. We will not be here for the next 2 weeks on Thursday nights here for the Talladega Challenge Series. We will resume our broadcast of the series on June the 5th. So be sure to join us for the continuation on that night. Kyle, Michael, thrilling finish here tonight. Appreciate you joining me here in the booth for this one. We got a little bit of a vacation here before we resume in June, but
you get a vacation.
I get a vacation. It'll be interesting to see here in these next couple of weeks as well to see what other names get added to the list and what storylines we'll have going into that 5th race.
Yep, it's gonna be fun to see, and I can't wait to watch it. I'm gonna have to find some way to sneak into that lobby so I can watch those next 2 races.
Yeah, there you go. Hey,
I hope somebody streams the race or something. That way, we know what. At least we know what happened the last 2 races. Have something to talk about when we resume our broadcast here in a couple of weeks.
Maybe what I'll do, I'll try and get in touch with somebody, have them send me their replays, and we'll take a look and see what happens in those races, so we have an idea of what to talk about when we resume at the beginning of June. But thank you everybody for tuning into our coverage here tonight. Congratulations once again to Ulysses Sandoval, his first career victory here in the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series. For Michael Norman, Kyle Matthews, I'm Seth Cole. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday night. We'll see you guys in June as you've been watching another broadcast, courtesy of FRN, the Flatout Racing Network.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank